Good day, guys and gals. So I just watched the Cowboy Bebop Netflix live adaptation series. So how is it? Is it really that bad? Is it actually good? Well, it sucked balls. Fucking Spike doesn't even have a poncho on. What is this? What is this shit? 0 out of 10. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you on the next one. No, but what's my actual opinion? Well, for me, it was a mixed bag. It really was. There were some good parts about it and some pretty bad ones. First thing I want to say, if you haven't watched the original, go and watch that. That's just a piece of art that is never gonna go away, hopefully. So just watch that. Um, that's the first thing I want to say. Watch the original because it's good. It's just like an ad for the original. Yeah, which is also something that kind of annoys me that I have to call it original because now this one exists. So I have to say, oh, the Cowboy Bebop 1998 version, not the 2021 version. The same thing that happened with the Ghostbusters. And obviously, people know what you mean most of the time. Not a lot of people gotta confuse it with the 2016 version when you talk about Ghostbusters, but you still have to make that distinction. But yeah, how is it? Is it worth a watch if you just want to know that? I think it is. I think it is worth a watch, even for those who watched the original. But yeah, it's in terms of quality, I don't think it's even close. But the thing is, it's just difficult because it's animation. There's so much stuff that just doesn't work, and nobody asks for the show to be remade into a live action word. I think literally nobody. The same thing that happened with Solo. Nobody asked for that movie. Han Solo. Nobody asked for that movie, but they made it. Everybody wanted the fucking Obi-Wan series or show movie, but they didn't do it. They made the other one, and now we have this. I know it's not for the same people, but just to like compare it. But yeah, the the, I'm gonna, by the way, get into spoilers pretty soon. I'm gonna say right before I get into spoilers. Yeah, I'm just gonna start. What distinguishes Cowboy Bebop the original from other shows is characters, the music, and the animation and storytelling, stuff like that. But just those main three I want to say right now. So I'm gonna start with characters. So how did they adapt the characters? Well, I'm starting with Ein, not this Ein, not this Ein. Yeah, this Ein. Well, how did they do Ein? One of the most important MCU characters. Well, they, I don't think they handled Ein pretty well because after episode 5, he just isn't there. He's just gone. By the way, I'm gonna get into spoilers now. He's just gone because he has in this adaptation he had like uh, cyber parts, and that's where they throw him off the ship to beat Pierrot Le Fou, Matt Pierrot, because he can like hack him. In this version, he isn't afraid of cats; he's afraid of dogs. So they could have actually used him, but they didn't. He used like a plushie, which he also I think did in the original, but instead of this, it was a cat plushie. But yeah, he was okay. I mean, yeah, I honestly, that was probably one of the best adaptations. You can't do much wrong, but they did like not adapt it correctly. First of all, I just wanna like say, if I think when you adapt something, you don't have, in my opinion, when I watch something that I already know, when adapted, it doesn't have to be 1-to-1. But I like that they stay faithful. But they did change a lot. I think, in my opinion, too much. I don't mind if they change dialogue if it's still funny. I personally thought it was funny a few times, but yeah, it's pretty like stupid jokes, very low jokes that aren't that I make with one of my friends, and they're not funny, but they'll sometimes laughs anyway. But I had a few laughs here and there. I actually enjoyed it because of that. But yeah. So to the next thing, the Asimov. It starts. It's the show starts with a mix of the movie and the first episode. Um, which is has one of my favorite fight scenes, and I think the fight scene doesn't hold up against the animation. It doesn't. It's not bad, but uh, if you compare it, I know I made a joke about the poncho, but that was one of my favorite fight scenes, and it's not in there. And yeah, they look okay. They look pretty similar. But if you compare it to this image, I mean, how are you gonna do that in live action? You just can't. And I mean, even with the budget that they had, you probably couldn't. They could have done it, but live action, it would have just been awful to look at. And yeah, you see how the expression is here and how he looks here. It's just doesn't have the same impact. And I didn't feel for Katarina, or what her name was, that much when she died like I did in the original show. It was okay, she's dead now, I guess. In the original show, I actually felt bad for her. She didn't manage to pull off. And next we have Faye. I think Faye are one of those that they did the dirtiest. Because I think Faye is pretty at the start. It's pretty hard to understand her. You don't know much about her. You don't know much about any character at the beginning. But then you get to slowly learn what she has gone through, and that adds a lot. She has amnesia, and I think they did her really dirty in the show with the amnesia part. I think in the Netflix show it was more of a like accessoire. Ooh, I have amnesia, blah blah blah. In the original show, it actually added depth to her. It's one of my favorite shows where she gets the VHS per package. She sees that and immediately goes away because she's afraid of her past. She thinks people just want to hurt her. She doesn't even want to open the package. So Spike and Jet open the package and they find a VHS there. They don't even know what it is. So the entire episode they get to find a VHS player, and it takes them forever, which was one of the funniest episodes for me, that they just wanted the VHS player and they got it. And then in the new show, she sees it and said, "What is this?" And they just put it in. They don't even go to a search for a VHS player. She doesn't know what it is, but they just happen to have a VHS player. You have to show that, man. At least I thought. And to get the obvious out of the way, they changed her costume completely, which at first made me a little bit mad. And I thought, okay, I guess you could have done it, but I guess because of the movement and stuff. But still, they didn't even do the pants right. They weren't even yellow, but that wasn't like the biggest deal breaker for me personally, but I can see when people didn't like that. And also she didn't use her looks as much, because in the original she got out of sticky situations by using her looks, and they actually changed her sexuality too. I think she's like queer or something, which I don't get why. It's not like I was like angry or anything that they changed that, but I just was like, why would you change that? I mean, Cowboy Bebop already has a pretty diversified character, which is Glenn, which you will see right here on screen, which they, by the way, also changed. He is like non-binary now. I actually liked the new portrayal of him, but I don't know why they changed it. Maybe, I don't know. It's just, they already had one, but even that one they changed. So they want to make it a very diversified show, which I think it already was, but they just want to keep giving it, which I think they should have stopped at Faye. Don't change Faye. She was fine as she was, and I think her being bi didn't actually add anything. I think if you do that change, you can, if you like make it interesting, but I think they didn't. I think it even took away from it because she had that mother character in the new show, which I actually did like a little bit, but I think when you compare it to in the original, it was a lawyer that she had something with, and then he fucks her over to like put her debts on her, which added a pretty interesting thing when they met again, because she was like struggling between killing him or she still kind of loved him. In the new show, she just like accepts it immediately, but I guess for her to know her identity, but it didn't have the same feeling for me as in the original. But yeah, overall, I think the new portrayal isn't too bad because I still liked her, but it isn't Faye. It isn't. And she was much more trustworthy. She was so trustworthy in this new show. In the original, she didn't trust anyone, not in the slightest. Even when she spent like I don't know how many days and weeks and months with Spike and Jet, she still didn't trust him. She got away like almost every episode. She was somewhere else. But here, yeah, we're family after like 3 episodes. I didn't buy that. I didn't really didn't. And yeah, the next one is Edward. Yeah, Edward was the one which I thought they're gonna have the most trouble with because it's just such a um, character so much out there. This is the character that's probably the most like an anime character, because I have to say, Cowboy Bebop most of the time doesn't even feel like an anime. It feels like it could have been from every country, but this one is probably the one that you can say, okay, this feels like an anime character. But I love the original Ed. He's so funny. I think when people talk about Cowboy Bebop, if they have a negative, most of the time it's probably Edward. But maybe people, I think a lot of people like him. But if they have something to say negatively about the original show, it's probably Edward. But I actually love Edward. I think he's a great comic relief. He's so random. You don't know what happens when he's on screen. It's so exciting, and his scenes with her scenes, yes, she's a her Edward, are so funny. And when they just like ramp around and then they actually get the thing they wanted. Yeah, it just doesn't work. It really doesn't. By the way, I don't want to flag any actor or actress or anything. I think they all did a fine job with what they were given, because people forget it's not just the actor that's sometimes at fault if it doesn't work on screen. A lot of people are behind it, directors, writers, colleagues. Just you can't just blame the actor. And I think the actor most of the time did actually fine. And I think the one that played Edwards, that's like her first role, and I don't want the same thing to happen like the one that happened with the thing that happened with the Star Wars, the one that played Anakin, the young Anakin. I don't want the same thing to happen, so no hate. But yeah, I don't think it's just even. I think probably it's just impossible to make it on screen. I did a thing. I watched it, and then I put it on Japanese sub. I just wanted to know how it sounded when Edward was on Japanese sub. By the way, I watched the original show on Japanese sub, but no hate if you didn't. If you will listen to the dub sounds good. I just decided for me personally that I wanted to watch it on the original Japanese sub. And then I did that for the last scene after watching it, and I didn't like it. I thought maybe making it Japanese sounds better, and I actually did improve it a little bit. Because they actually used the same voice actress. I think they did it for almost every character. I just listened to that a few scenes in that episode in Japanese. I didn't like rewatch it. Jet was the same. Faye was the same. Spike was the same Japanese voice actor. That was awesome. But still, of course the moves didn't like add up, and the movement, it just looks weird, and the costume. And my reaction was truly this this face Spike is making. But yeah, they I thought they wouldn't do it at the first season at all, because you didn't see anything at her. Maybe I thought, yeah, maybe later in the show, but no, they literally made it on the last scene because they knew this was a difficult one to do. And I think the director said, yeah, and on the second season they really want to give her the screen time she deserves. And I think if it gets a second season, this is probably gonna be the worst thing ever. Oh man, I don't know. And next we have Vicious. Vicious. The thing is, in the original, it wasn't like a standout character for me personally. I understood his purpose. I did like him as a character, but he wasn't like one of my favorite characters. But I did like Vicious. And in the new portrayal, he doesn't even have his Raven. He's much more like angry. In the original, I got the sense that Vicious was very calculative. He was angry certain times, but most of the time he was very stone cold. Like, he didn't show much of emotion. And in the new one, he's always angry. He makes mistakes all the time, which isn't Vicious for me. Vicious is like very, very calculative in what he does. He's a smart guy. And in the new show, the Netflix show, he seemed much stupider than Spike. Which in the original, they're like opposites that attract each other. They're pretty similar, but not, I didn't get that sense at all in the new show. But yeah, next we have Spike. How did I like Spike? I think actually Spike was probably the best portrayal. I think John Cho did a pretty good job. I think how he looks is pretty spot on. How he talks is pretty spot on. His mannerisms are pretty spot on. I actually liked Spike. He's one of my favorite characters ever. But you know what? They didn't do enough big fire, small cigarette shots. I missed those. But yeah, Spike, I can't say much about him. They did change his past a little bit. He has like a name like Vicious now, Fearless, which at first I thought, whoa, did I miss something? Was he actually called Fearless in the show too? And I thought, nah, I would have remembered that. So I googled it, and it wasn't called Fearless. So that kind of confused me. And they add a lot of more context to him with the Syndicate, which I think they should be like cautious about if they do a second season. I mean, they already showed a lot, which sometimes hurts it. I think, for example, I already talked about it, but I'm gonna bring it up again with Han Solo. They wanted to explain even his name. Nobody cares why he's called Han Solo. The cool thing about Han Solo is that you know almost nothing about Han Solo, and that's also pretty similar with Spike. The mystery about his past, about all the things he does, you don't know much about him. That makes him who he is. The mysterious, like, cool guy, cool, sleeky, fighting cowboy. Yeah, and I think they also changed his eyes because they didn't mention it at all. Maybe that is gonna come in the second season. In the show, he actually has like a cybernetic eye, and then he says like with the that he's stuck now because he always sees the past and the present with one eye, and he doesn't know what's real anymore. That's why he doesn't care about dying, because yeah. By the way, heavy spoilers if you're already in. It's now good. The really heavy spoilers are gonna come. They also changed Julia a lot. They like at one point at the end, she like shoots at him. Julia shoots at him, which in the original show she did point the gun at him, but she didn't shoot at him. And now apparently Julia is like the villain now. I thought like, what? Why would you do that? The original show has one of the best endings ever, in my opinion. It added so much. It just like, as I said, heavy spoilers. Like Spike dies. First he points the gun. He says bang. Then the camera just lives and lets you live with that moment for almost like 2 minutes. And at the end, it just says, "You carry that weight, bro. You carry that weight." And you're just leaving there, and like, after I saw that, I was just like, bruh, that really impacted me, you know. And I think it did for a lot of people. And it kind of seems like they're not going for that ending, which is like, what? It's one of the best endings. You had it served on your platter. You don't have to do a one in one like adaptation, but at least, you know. And then the show also was pretty weird. Every time you saw a close up of his eyes, it looked like he had a contact lens on. Maybe that was just me, but it looked kind of weird. And I don't know why he had to put contact lenses on, because it didn't look like his eyes in the original show anyway. Because in the original show, you can see now it's like kind of a red brown, and I think Shang-Chi already has like brown eyes, so I don't know why his eyes look so weird. Maybe that's what's just me, but yeah. But yeah, Spike was pretty good. So now Jet. At first when I saw Jet from the casting thing, I was actually pretty stoked about. So I also was with Spike, so that's why I actually was a little bit hopeful for this adaptation. Which I think I'm gonna talk about again and comparing some shows. I think they did a better better this time than with Death Note, but I actually enjoyed Death Note for what it was. It was not enjoying it as it was good. Enjoying that just was so bad that I just like embraced it. Like Light Turner, what the fuck? How are you gonna Light Turner? As soon as I heard that, but yeah, I thought Cowboy Bebop was better than that. It paid more tribute to how the show was, but it changed too much in my opinion. But yeah, how is Jet? I think Jet was actually pretty good. The actor played him pretty well. I think he looked the part. The beard was almost spot on. The only difference was that he doesn't. He had a mustache in the Netflix one, which he doesn't. But that's not a problem for me. But yeah, they changed that he has a daughter, and then that he says, "Yo, you can't lie on my ship. We're family." Which I thought, what? You're bounty hunters. You're bound to lie to each other. And I didn't buy that aspect. I really didn't. They really want to hammer that in, that family aspect. In the original show, they just fuck off. Like each episode, Spike is there, Faye goes there. They just leave each other instantly. And in the original show, Jet is kind of the father figure, which I didn't feel that much in the original, in the new show. I mean, they tried. I felt it that they were trying, but I didn't really get that. But yeah, overall, chat was okay. And now I want to talk about something that isn't okay. They did remake the original soundtrack, like the visuals, and I think also they re-recorded everything. They got Yuko Kano back. They did a lot of new music, and I think the music that was already there, they remade it. I thought it was great. So now we have a lot of more seatbelt music, which is always good. The music all around was pretty good. Also the new music. A few of the tracks sounded a little bit more electric, a little bit more new, which I thought was good. It didn't feel like Cowboy Bebop, but it added something new, which I thought was interesting. And I think Yuko Kano also has a cameo appearance. He's like at the piano. I think that was her. But yeah, what I wanted to say is, don't fuck with the intro. And they did, because sometimes it played normally, like in the original show, but sometimes the music played earlier, and then the intro got started, and it sounded off, and sometimes they like manipulated the way it sounded. It was pretty weird in my opinion. But yeah, overall, it's okay. You can watch it, but yeah, don't expect too much. I enjoyed it at the beginning, but then it slowly turned way down for me. Um, they apparently want to do multiple seasons now. I don't know if that's gonna happen. Maybe it is. When I watched Netflix, I saw that when I watched it, it wasn't like on top 10 anything. But then like today when I did look, it was like on top 6 or something. I don't remember exactly. And then I looked it up again later. It just was gone. Arcane was like place 2 or something. But yeah, I don't know why they did it. Apparently they want to do a One Piece 1 too, and I'm like, bruh, they're gonna turn like Ruffy non-binary because he doesn't like have any like relationship almost in that show, at least not sexual ones. Netflix really gone for all the beloved anime. But yeah, it is what it is. So you're gonna carry that weight now. See you on the next one, guys.